Hello, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Colette Dennis, your soul diva, and today I want to discuss how to manage change. So, if any of you out there are going through some difficulties right now, whether it's in your job or in your relationships or in your business, change is inevitable. This is what I wanted to say. Change is inevitable. And to get through change, the only way to get through change is to manage it yourself, is to accept it and go with the flow. Because when you try and fight change, then it feels painful. It feels as if you're going against the tide. Now, changes come to us for all sorts of reasons. And I'd like to look at what we have around us in nature. We have the seasons. And within those seasons, there are different seasons that bring different changes to the sequel of life. Right now, we are in the winter season, about to go into the spring season. But what does that mean? In winter, it's barren. Nothing really happens. The trees, the leaves have died. The trees are sleeping, they're resting, they're gaining their energy for new life to come about in spring. And if this is where you are in your life, in your business, you're at a point where nothing seems to be happening, where things seem to have slowed down, um, then recognize that you're in the winter season. Now, the winter season is a time of rest and revival and renewal. And to help you get through the winter season is a time for planning, for rebirth. It's a time for planning. What are you going to be sowing for the next 12 months? Think about that. Now, once you have got through that season, the next season that comes along, it slowly changes. The next season that comes along in life is spring. Now, what is spring meaning to you? Because spring to me means the trees start buds. You start seeing buds on the trees. You start seeing animals come out of their hibernation. You start to see life happening again. In nature, you hear the birds. You slowly start to see things unraveling in nature. And it's normally the time where growers plant their seeds, right? Because it says to plant your seeds in spring, in early spring, towards late spring, depending on what crop you are looking, to flourish at the end of the season. So start thinking, start planning, start doing in that area. And if you haven't thought about it in your life, then start going out there and doing stuff, because it's when you plant those little seeds in life that things start to happen. Things will not grow until you plant them, you nurture them, you water them, you take care of them lovingly, you be consistent with watering them, and then you will see the plant or what you have sown flourish. And it's the same in life. If you are out there and you are in business and you seem to be trying to contact people and you're talking to people but nothing seems to be happening in your business, keep planting those seeds. You are planting seeds for the future, because you're letting people know what you do. You're letting people know that you're there, and you're letting them know that you're in business. If you are at the point of you're in a relationship and things seem to be going downhill, plant the seeds of restoring that relationship. Plant the seeds of restoring that relationship. If it's booking a restaurant to go out for a meal, it could be getting some snacks in for a comfortable moving night. It could be starting to praise your other half, because when you change towards them, they will change towards you. And you're planting seeds for the future, seeds that you would like to see nourish and grow. If it's in your work and you're going through some difficult times, look at the positives that there is in your work. It may be that you don't get on with a certain person, but try to understand why you're not getting on with them. Is it because of a personality clash, or is it because there is a misunderstanding between you and that other person? Maybe you see them in a not so nice light. Try and understand their ways, talk to them, befriend them, be nice to them, confuse them with your niceness, and maybe eventually you will see things change. Now, Jim Rohn, he was a famous business philosopher. He said, "For things to change, you have to change," and that is so true. Because once you change your attitude, then those around you, their attitude changes. The next season that you have is summer, and this is after you've planted your seeds in the spring. You nurture your plant and you will start to see the results. And the same goes with your relationship and with your business. When you start sowing these seeds of networking, communicating, connecting, of restoring, you will start to see the results that you have put into play. You will start to see the results that you have put down. Then, at the end of the summer, comes the autumn. And for many, that's a time of harvest. This is when you should see everything that you've put into place come to fruition. This is where you start to reap your rewards. And it is so important. It's so important that your harvest will only come from your season in spring where you have planted and sown. If you haven't planted or sown, don't expect a good harvest. So when things aren't working out for you, you have to look back at why they're not working out for you. Did you put the work in your spring season? Did you make it flourish in your summer season? Because if you didn't, then you're not going to have a good harvest at all in any areas of your life or your business. So why do we need to accept change? Because change is inevitable. In nature, change shows us that life moves on, it evolves and it changes. Sometimes you have these forest fires that are started by nature, but it's because the forest, there are certain plants that need the fire. There are certain plants that need to die before they could come back to life. And that is the reason for these forest fires. There's a reason for everything in nature. There is a reason for everything. And I want us all to, really sort of look at our lives and where we are and think, what part of the cycle am I in my life? Because if you're going through a rough and a hard time, know that good times are ahead. And if you're in a good time right now, be prepared for those bad times that are coming ahead. And yes, you can be prepared because you can start to put away things. You can start to preempt these things. But know that the seasons of change will come inevitably. So I hope you've enjoyed this discussion. If you have, great. I want to hear from you. Let me hear your thoughts. Where are you in your life right now? Do you recognize where you are in your life? Because if you recognize where you are in the seasons of your life, then you can be encouraged to go forth and change. Go with the change. Don't fight the change. It's like being a fish in the water and going against the tide. You go against the tide. You try and fight the current. You go against the current, and you can't fight that current because eventually it will push you along with it, right? And that's what change does in life. So accept what's coming. Look at what's good in the change that's coming, because there's always good things in change. There's always good things. It might initially look as a bad thing, but there's always good things in change if you look for them. And if you embrace them, it makes it easier to accept. So don't forget to click on the bell, subscribe to my channel, and join us in our Facebook group to continue the conversation. Until then, have an amazing, amazing day.